Hi, my name is Megan Adams, and I'm making this video based off the question, what are the assumptions made about reading in our culture and why were they made? First, I will be interviewing Shelly Adams to find out her opinion on these assumptions. Then, I will be interviewing William Adams to find out his opinion on this matter. Then, I will be doing a phone interview with Jean McCrary to find out a English degree graduate's point of view on this matter. Now for our first interview, Shelly Adams. Recording. This is Shelly Adams, and I'll be interviewing her. Here's her first question. What is your favorite book?
Boys in the Boat.
Why?
Why? Because we have a connection to it, and it's an inspiring story.
What's that connection?
My grandparents' best friend was the coxswain in the boat. Not my grandparent. My grandparents' best friend's brother was the coxswain in the crew boat for the University of Washington that won in the Olympics in Germany.
What are some of the assumptions made about this book?
Assumptions?
Yeah.
I don't know. Assumptions made about the book. About what happened in the book? Is that what you're asking me, or?
More like, just what are the general assumptions made about this book or any other book?
Assumptions. Well, maybe the title always tells the story, but maybe it doesn't.
Why do you think it was made? That assumption was made.
I don't know.
What are your opinions on the assumptions made about reading? Like that can be boring. Kids don't like it as much.
About reading. Yeah, I think that the assumptions made, I don't know. I know that we, I could give you an example. We thought Cole, your older brother, didn't like books and didn't like to read, and nothing interested him, and we couldn't get him going on books, and we wound up, for years he wouldn't read, and we'd fight. And so we wound up having him set a goal, and that at the end of the goal, if he met the goal, he would get an iPod Mini at the time, which was a very long time ago, if he finished, which was the Harry Potter series. And he set a goal, and he finished it, and I guess I always assumed he would never be a heavy reader prior to that, but once he started reading, he just never stopped, and he loves books, and he loves reading, and it's kind of what we did with all of you a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, for our second interview, William Adams. This is William Adams. Okay, first question. What are some assumptions made about reading in our culture?
Well, I think that there's two assumptions that come to mind. One is that reading is something you need to do to improve yourself, to be intelligent, and it's something that people that are well read are considered more valuable in our society than those who are not. And then the other element is that the assumption people don't read as much as they used to. So those would be the I don't know if that one's correct, but that's kind of the two assumptions I think that come to mind.
What are some of the good assumptions made about reading?
The good assumptions about reading is that it's valued, right? If you read, if you seek to improve yourself or to improve your thinking or understanding or knowledge base, that it's valued, and that it's a benefit, and that is truly important.
And some of the bad ones?
Well, the bad assumption I would say is that people think that people don't read as much anymore. There's this general assumption that we don't read as much anymore. And I think we read differently now than we have before with technology and the internet. The things we read are quicker, faster, and maybe not as in-depth in coverage, and it's not a big fat novel that you got to lug around with you anymore. So reading novels is probably less, reading books is probably less, but I think people staying current and up to speed or is different now, and I think that it's just a different way that we learn, and that's probably okay.
What's your opinion on reading?
I think it's important, and you need to do it. I mean, and the biggest challenge with reading is finding the time to sit down and really enjoy it, and but that if you carve it out, there's benefit to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Finally, our phone interview with Jean McCrary. What assumptions would you say are made about reading nowadays?
You mean by everyday people that they assume about reading?
Yes.
Well, let's see. That reading is really easier than people realize. I mean, it's harder than people realize. Reading is harder than people realize, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because learning a language is not just learning words. It's learning individual sounds and so on and putting them together and then making sense of it.
Yeah.
So I would say that's number one. I would say that reading in itself, unless you do a lot of it, it's like a habit. I would say that people need to read more, but I think people are assuming nowadays that because kids are on their internet all the time and phones, that nobody's reading, and I don't think that's true. I think bookstores kind of tell us that people are reading a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more than we think. Okay, that might be another assumption. What do you think?
I don't know. So, what are some assumptions about reading when you were a kid? What were some of those?
Well, let's just say whether it's a good or bad assumption doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So most people have the assumption that if you read to your children when they're very young, that as time goes on and they get older, they'll be better and better readers as they grow into adulthood. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good assumption.
Yeah.
Okay. People also have the assumption that they should read, some really hard literature when they're younger. I don't agree with that. I think that you should read what you enjoy when you're young, because it should then, as you get older and you read harder and harder, you've learned at a very young age how to read in itself and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, when I was a kid, I think I was 9 or 10 or 11, something like that. I read a lot of Nancy Drew mysteries, and that started my love of reading.
So how have they changed since you were a little kid from nowadays?
As far as reading,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's changed that much. I think there's way more to read as far as books than when I was a kid. Lots more interesting, wonderful books.
Mm-hmm.
From the books that you read, the series, to what Cole read when he was young, the Harry Potter series. I think there's so much more interesting books to read.
Yeah. What's your opinion on reading? Really?
Oh my gosh, well, my opinion. Reading for me is everything. I mean, we were avid readers when I was a kid. We always have lots of magazines around, like Time and National Geographic and Sports Illustrated. We just read everything. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Hi, y'all. I'm back. So I'm going to say some quotes for y'all, and then I'm going to let this video end. So my first quote is by Dr. Seuss. The more you read, the more things you'll know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go. I think he was pretty smart about that. My next two are by J.K. Rowling. If you don't like to read, you haven't found the right book. Well, she was right. I used to hate to read, and then I found the Percy Jackson series and the Harry Potter series, and I just fell in love. The stories we love best do live in us forever, so whether you come back by page or by the big screen, Hogwarts will always be your home. By J.K. Rowling. She's right. Hogwarts is always going to be our home. Some more quotes are, the journey of a lifetime starts with turning a page, by Rachel Anders. She's right. You never know what you'll find out if you don't open a page. A book is a gift you can open again and again, by Garrison Keillor. Jim Rohn says, the book you don't read won't help. He's right. You don't know what you read if you don't read. So, I'm going to leave you guys with this. People say, don't judge a book by its cover. But people are doing this about reading. They're saying reading's boring or something. Or it's not exciting enough. Kids are too attached to their electronics. We don't read as much. The question I want to leave with you is, what are some of the assumptions you've made in the past about reading? Why'd you make them? Think about that. Bye, y'all.